Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. You know, I've made a decision. I'm going to take 3 months off to finish my novel. I'm a very slow reader. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Catan, Starfarers Duel from Catan Studios.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
In Catan, Starfarers Duel from Catan Studio, two players are sucked into a wormhole and they end up on a vast different quadrant of space, and they've got to use their resources very wisely if they want to get home. Each player has a spaceship which comes equipped with different dials to show the different kinds of resources they're going to be using during the game, as well as some spaces for some upgrades, also spaces for your engines and your lasers, which too can be upgraded. Now, between your two spaceships, you're going to have a tile for a place for these cards. You've got these four squares for the different cards, and these represent different sectors of space. You're going to kind of divide them, divide the cards into these sectors, and place them along the board. You're also going to have some missions. You're going to set certain mission cards out, which are associated with certain planets. Now, at the very beginning of the game, you're going to roll a D3. This is a D6 orange die, but of course you have to make it a D3. Decide, is it 1 to 2 or 1, 3 to 4, 2, 5 to 6, 3, or is it going to be 1 and 4, 1, 2 and 5 or 2, 3 and 6 or 3? Figure that out. Roll the D6 the way you want to roll it. But you're going to roll that die, and then on some players' boards, they may have conversion that shows if they get that die roll, then they get one of the resources. Now, as the game progresses, you will have colonies you can put out, and you can actually produce from the colonies too, giving you even more resources. Now, next, you're going to calculate your flight speed. Essentially, you look at the orange die, whatever that rolled on that D3, you're going to add that to the number of engines you've got. Now, as I say, you can upgrade your engines to make them faster so you can go further during this phase. But once you have your flight number, you select one of the four card quadrants you want to explore. That means your flight speed is how many cards get revealed. Now, as the cards come out and you're revealing the cards, you can take actions with those cards. For instance, if you see colonies pop up, you're going to have two different kinds of colony ships. And if you can take the colony ship with the associated icon of that colony, you get rid of the colony ship, you can claim that colony and put it down beneath you. That is now one of your colonies. Now, I should point out, too, whenever one of those colonies is taken from the deck, you actually have a reserve deck that you're going to add a new card in there, too, so you don't know what's going to pop up over the course of the game. There are other actions you can do. Some cards that come out will allow you to trade. You can buy or sell a certain commodity to gain resources or to gain money as you need it. Some of the cards that come out may be blank. Some of them may have pirates. And if those pirates come out, you're going to have to fight them. Essentially, you are going to look at how many lasers you've got on your ship, and then the pirate will have a certain amount of lasers on their ship. You each roll a die, and whoever has the most laser power, they will win that. Now, if you lose it, it tells you kind of what happens. A lot of times you'll just lose your turn. You may lose some other things. If you win it, you gain that card, and you may get some other goodies along the way. Then also, you may have those planets come out that are associated with the missions. If you can pay the price on the mission card for that planet, you can go ahead and take that mission card and add that to kind of your trophy pile as well, and that may give you more advantages throughout the game. As you are taking actions, you only have a limited number of actions. I think it's two to begin with. You may be able to increase that to three or even four. But when you take the actions, you kind of tap the cards that are laid out there so you know that that's how many actions you've taken. Because as soon as you take your last action, your flight ends. Now, once you've completed your actions, you can trade and build. So you have established trade routes and planets that let you convert stuff. You can go ahead, you can trade and trade for resources or money, and then you can actually build stuff. You can build upgrades onto your ship. You can take them from kind of a regular side to the upgraded side. You can even upgrade with an associated victory point, but that costs a lot to do that. You can also upgrade your weapons at this time. You can also upgrade your thrusters, your ship's engines at this time as well. Now, once you're finished at the end of the turn, you pass the orange die to your opponent. It is now their turn. So players are going back and forth. They are rolling die and collecting resources. They are engaging in their flight path, going through the system, taking actions, gaining colonies, fulfilling missions. They are trading within their own trading posts. They are building new upgrades to their ship, and they, of course, are passing the dice on. Now, as they're doing this, there's also some smaller side missions they can chase. You can collect certain symbols on some of the cards, the pirate cards and other cards you get, that will give you sometimes victory points and sometimes friendship points and other things, the fame points that will allow you to do other things in the game. And as soon as one player gets 10 victory points, they win. Catan, Starfarers Duel. So this game, of course, it's got the Catan logo. It doesn't feel much like regular old school Catan. In fact, it's quite a bit different. Now, I think about 20 years or so ago, this game came out in a different iteration, but it was essentially the same game. I know Ray had played it. Um, but it's not like your kind of regular Catan. It's not like your regular Starfarers of Catan. It plays very differently. It feels like a very, very different kind of game here. First of all, I really enjoy the whole dice thing because I didn't point this out. When you roll the dice and you can go ahead and produce, that's universal. Both sides get to see what they're rolling and they both get to produce. And I really like that because that is a game thing I like about Catan or games like Machikaro or Space Base. When it's not your turn, something happens that keeps you invested. I really like that. But also, too, to that idea of being invested, when it is not your turn, you need to reveal the planets to your neighbor when they're on their flight path. Because if you draw the pirates, it's kind of a pressure luck. They don't know how strong the pirate is they're going up against. They have to make that decision with hidden information. So you are, even when it's not your turn, you're very invested in this game. That is something I really appreciated. The fact that you're kind of always on, not a lot of downtime. Otherwise, this is a game that would have a lot of downtime. So I like the fact that you are invested when it's not your turn. I also really liked how the different card quadrants represent different regions of space. So, like, it presents a bit of a memory game. Okay, there's a mission for Andromeda. We saw Andromeda. Now, where did I see Andromeda? You try to remember where the places are, and it's easy to forget because you're thinking about all these things. But that memory component of the game is very, very important because you got to go back there in order to win those missions, or even if there's a specific trading thing you want to do. It's helpful to remember where those cards are. But I just generally like that. I like, when you go to one place, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this place, I've been here before. I just thematically, I thought that was really fun and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, there are a few criticisms I have. First of all, some of the times during the game, as we're playing this game, um, when it would get to your point to do your build actions, so you can do like two build actions, right? Two actions to trade or to build. Sometimes there just wouldn't be anything to do. Sometimes you had nothing to do, right? And then it was not fun. And I don't like games where there's nothing to do. I wish there was some thing you could do on your turn that allowed you to feel like you were progressing. Like, okay, I'm not going to trade or build. I'm forfeiting my two actions. Maybe I get a coin. I get one of the currency, right? Maybe I mean I don't know if that would blow up the engine there on another level, but just something you could do that would be cool. Maybe peek at the top card or something. Just some option you would have when there was nothing else to do would really, I think I would have enjoyed the engagement with the game more. That's not an insignificant criticism. We encounter that quite a bit, and that it was like, okay, we're doing this, and it's just like, eh. I can't do anything. I want to, I need to, but I can't because I don't have the resources or whatever. So that I didn't like that much. One, I think my biggest criticism of the game, however, is the fact that the game, when it starts out, is fun and you're finding these places, you're going to these places, and it's really cool. But this is one of those games I feel that's just, it's longer than the fun it produces. It seems like those last few rounds, we were kind of going through the motions and kind of wanting to wrap it up. So that was kind of disappointing. I wish this game, to me, this game screamed to be a 45-minute game. It seemed like this would have been an awesome 45-minute game. And I guess you could play it to 5 victory points instead of 10, you know. But then you're kind of missing out on your abilities to upgrade some of the other things and explore in other ways. So I think that would take something out of it too. I just wish I wish this was a quicker game for because it's a fun game generally speaking, but it just goes on too long. And if it had been a little bit shorter, I would have liked it more. Now, I put all this together and I can say generally I enjoyed the game. Generally I had fun with it, except for those kind of two big things. Those moments where you just don't have anything to do really kind of bring the game to a stop, and then the length of the game. It's a fun game. It's a good game. Generally speaking, it's not a great game. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think some people who really like resource management and the space theme and the memory game here will really enjoy it. I did. The caveats are a bit too much to me to give it a full recommend. So I'm going to say try it before you buy it. It's a fun game, and for the right people, I think you'll get a kick out of it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we take a look at military history, books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my own lectures on that channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would check that channel out and subscribe. And also, please like this video on Board Game Geek. And also, too, ladies and gentlemen, if you really enjoy the content we bring to you here, I'd humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. Why didn't the sun go to college? It already had 1,000,000 degrees. Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love.
We supervillains may be evil.
Supervillains?
Villains?
Supervillains! Supervillains!
It's like a hero and a villain.